Peace, peace and black power. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Hotep. Uh, namaste. All the greetings and peace to the family and whoever is tuning in for the first time to just listen in listen in on what I'm going to talk about today, which is just really, I'm going to try to make this super brief. And it's going to be about the sacred serpent in every holy teaching. And as far as alchemy goes, the serpent is a representation of renewal of self. So you can look at the symbolism of the serpent as a representation of your achievement, your elevation in the material self. So like we have the serpent, and then we have the bird. And in some cultures and teaching, like the Aztec with Quetzalcoatl, there's emergence or putting together of the serpent and the bird. And that actual deity, that depiction, that symbol, that the symbol of that particular winged flying serpent is worshipped in that culture, in that is and was worshipped by Aztecs and those who consider themselves to be the descendants of and follow that that religion, so to speak. So the serpent is present in every single holy writing, every single religious belief, everyone. And that says a lot because it tells us about the sacredness of that particular, the sacredness of the symbolism of that particular creature. Okay. Again, you want to think of the serpent as a representation of the highest elevated God self in the material. Because remember, we're dually existing in every way. We're dually existing as far as we are spiritual beings. We have a soul, which some people might say a consciousness. We have a soul, and we have the flesh material. Now, with that said, it gets complex because the soul and the material still are in a basic, in a, how do you say, in a phase, or in a realm. So we exist in this realm, but there are layers to it. You understand? Like in a video game, when you're playing the whole video game, you still go through phases and stages, and then you move on. So like you can compare that to this realm that we're in, the highest elevated material self also is affected by the spirit that I mentioned, the power that comes down from the Almighty Source. So the material self is affected, it interacts with the spirit, so to speak, and the material self makes like it creates your soul consciousness. You understand? Like people say, well, wait a minute, my consciousness is what helps me realize my material self and my existence as a whole. But it's like a circle, a cycle. Although like the serpent, the Urubus, the snake eating its tail, and it's a circle. There's a serpent again represented. the Urubus. You've probably seen it. It's like a circle snake, but the snake is eating itself. So it's going in a cycle, never ending, affecting its own self. So what I'm saying is the snake represents your material self. And the snake represents your material self, and it also has an aspect of wisdom. The snake does equate to wisdom in a lot of symbology, a lot of symbolism in especially Kemet and Judeo-Christian religions, even, that often villainize the snake. There is also a lot of references to the snake being wisdom and being the wisest, like in Genesis chapter 2, where it says the most subtle, meaning the wisest of all beasts. Okay, so I digress. So what I'm trying to say is everything is dual. Everything. I mean, you can just go on and on about the duality of things. So if you even think of, okay, I have the spirit, which is represented by, if we're talking about animals, spirit is represented by a bird. Okay. The snake represents the flesh. Okay. But when you just talk about that the level, say it's like a cube, like a box, okay, and you're talking about the snake, the sacred serpent. Now I hope you're staying with me on this, because I'm just trying to say that the snake isn't always only going to be only like, okay, spirit, bird, snake. Or some people don't even use bird. They use lion and snake, but that's a whole different topic. Right now we're thinking the bird, because when they do lion and snake, it's a lot of times it'll be about a battle, lion and serpent. So we're not going to talk about the lion. I'll do that in another part of the series. But in this alchemy series, we're going to talk about how the snake symbolizes your material self, and you're functioning in this material realm. The snake becomes the bird. That's the alchemy. So the snake being sacred is because the snake is the power. You've achieved your best material, physical self. Then once you now that it's not like, when I say then, I shouldn't say then, because it can also be in tandem with you achieving your best spiritual self. However, I'm going to talk about it in phases so you can understand again what I mean by the alchemy, the alchemical sacredness of you in this material realm and the serpent. So the serpent, remember I said it represents your existence. Okay. On the serpent, you have so many scales, different scales. Those are different, you can say different stages in your own life that you go through, and different, you can say they're obstacles that you overcome. You can say they are different facets of yourself. You can say even there realms within this realm. Like I said, in our existence, it's not as simplistic as, okay, there's a material realm and that's only it, and then there's the spiritual realm. We talk about dimensions, like the first, second, third, fourth dimension, just off rip. But this is even proven in quantum physics. I can't remember what it's called, but there are different sections, so to speak, like when you look at graph paper, different, but in three-dimensional, not two-dimensional, different different realities, almost, I guess you could say. I'm getting too deep. I don't want to go too deep on that. Okay, but pretty much what I'm saying about the scales, we're talking about the symbolism of you and your existence in this realm compared to the sacred snake. Now, we say, okay, well, wait a minute. How can it be sacred if it's material? Because we've always been taught, oh, the flesh isn't sacred. It's the spirit that's, no. We're always taught that the flesh isn't the divine. The spirit is divine. No, there is sacredness and there can be divinity in flesh, such as sex. Even in the Bible, it says the marriage bed is undefiled. That's divine when it's a physical, a physical act. Now, not to get too complex or to confuse, but remember, it's a physical act, but what's coming from it? There's something spiritual coming from it, but I use the word spirit for lack of better words. It's actually soul, like a soul reaction from that energy that I talked about in part one, like that magnetism. So what you're doing is when you, now we're talking about this sacred serpent, we're talking about this material existence. When you do work on your alchemy, and say you have your husband or your wife, your partner, your love partner, and you come together sexually, and then you say, okay, we're together, then you have ecstatic energy because there's that magnetism. You bring yourself together. Right now we're still talking about the serpent, even though I'm referring to part one. Now you're bringing each other together. You're working the material, but you're also manifesting soul energy. Now, is that the same as the magnetic energy? Yeah, of course. You're creating soul energy. You're making like an imprint on this realm, in this existence. You're actually making an imprint, like, if you leave something hot, a hot iron on a cloth, you pick it up, you'll see it imprinted, like it burned, the imprint of the iron, right? So imagine when people come together, and you might call it sex magic, but it's just sex energy and interaction. They are working on their material selves because, again, there's a physical thing, but also they've created a soul energy through that. When with their magnetism, it's the energies become like an electric imprint, like an ethereal thing, and it's imprinted forever in this existence at that point of time. Now, with that said, I still want you to stay with the serpent, okay? Because what that is the alchemy of the serpent, the sacredness of the serpent. The serpent is the physical material realm, okay? Now, what's happened is, in that moment that is ecstatic with the union, the sexual union of the magnetism and then the electricity of the sex energy, right, of the two. Those two have elevated self and completed, like imagine the serpent is, because the serpent led, in a sense, the serpent led those two in the natural order, following the natural order of the Almighty, following the natural laws, okay? The serpent leads those two to come together and to do it in the right way to where they don't breach encapsulation, you know, that energy, that magnetic energy. So again, we're talking about alchemy. We talked about love alchemy, how people with that magnetic energy go around working their love alchemy on those who I called lead people. So they bring the vibration of the lead person up, help them repair their encapsulation, and that person vibrates to a gold level, so to speak, of energy. Now imagine going further with the sacred serpent, knowing when you go around working that high vibrational energy and working your alchemy, your love alchemy, you are utilizing your serpent wisdom and your serpent existence in the material. That's what you're doing. You're not using your serpent wisdom to deceive, which is possible. Now, that makes it not, it's no longer sacred. You understand? It's no longer sacred serpent energy. It's no, I mean, not energy. It's no longer the sacred serpent. If you use it, remember I said before, if you use, you go against the natural order, you breach your encapsulation, your protective magnetic field, your energy field, which also is electric. So if you work, use your serpent, your sacred serpent, if you use that uh, that wisdom to do evil meaning to deceive, to be malicious, then you're no longer sacred, and you're actually going to be like, imagine a snake with half a body, or a snake with the tail cut off. If we've seen that, it can still exist. You're the snake with no body, you just see the head. A snake can still exist that way. So imagine that, okay? So we're talking about the sacred serpent still. And I'm going to talk about the history of the serpent. I haven't forgotten to talk about, there's a lot of good stuff that backs it up, but I just want to stay on this track and let you understand what I mean by the sacred serpent and yourself. Now, when I say sacred serpent, I'm imagining one serpent. However, we must keep in mind that we are dual. So we do have that dual existence, even in a serpentine way with our energy. Okay. I don't want to mix up the energies with what I'm saying about the sacred serpent itself, but remember that we have a dual existence within ourselves that work like the sacred work like serpents. They're serpentine. They are like you see the caduceus, when they spiral around that pillar of power that we receive from the almighty power, whatever you call the almighty power. Remember I said it comes through the crown, goes through the crystal, you know, you have the altar in the mind because you exalt the Almighty. You've got the chalice receiving the power and energy, and then it trickles down, or you know, it comes down into the centered self. You have your three minds, you know, with the pineal gland, you with the brain, heart, and the gut minds. So all of that energy should be running through you, just like a staff, like a rod, like a pillar. That's why in a lot of holy uh, characters, you've got the I didn't look it up. I should have said it's the Jed. I got to look it up in Kemet. I think that's what it is, but it's the rod that you hear Moses has the rod. Who else has the staff? Elisha had the staff. He handed it over to Elijah. That's the power. So let's see here. Is it called the Jed? I can't remember. Jed. Some of you that follow Kemet know what I'm talking about, but I should look it up. I know that Tahuti, no, it's Ta, it's Ptah or Ta, Ptah. It's called the Jet. The Jet, yes, the Jet. And what is the Jet? The Jet, okay. Um, is a pillar, one of the more ancient and commonly found symbols in ancient Egyptian. Is a pillar-like symbol, okay, representing stability. So it's just like it's very similar to the spine in its depiction. So the backbone of the god Osiris. See, I didn't. Okay, so the Jed, and we've got the rod. So again, just wanted to bring up the idea of the sacredness of the serpent. Okay, and it's undeniable. The scriptures even it's debate. I could debate that the scriptures show sacredness of serpents. Wise from the mouth of Yahushua, if you follow the New Testament, it says, be wise as a serpent and gentle as the dove. You see, he talks about the dual existence. He says, be the wisest of your material self. Use the knowledge, the wisdom, the most subtle of all creatures, is what it says in Genesis, the serpent. But gentle as a dove, that means be your elevated self that is broken even out, gone to another whole phase of existence in a realm within realms. So when you are your highest spiritual self, you're then the bird, you're the winged serpent. And in the Bible, there are seraphims. I think it's in Isaiah, can't remember, but it's in Isaiah. And I mean, I can't remember the chapter off the top of my head, but it might be chapter 29. Where, well, they talk about holy, 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 and they talk about those winged, fiery angels, the top angels. Those are the word seraph also means serpent. It's also used in the Tanakh, in the Bible, in the Torah. Seraph is are the serpents in the wilderness that were biting the people, and the seraph is the symbol, the bronze seraph, the staff. Remember, we've got the Jed, we've got the rod. That's the symbolic of the pillar of power that we receive from the Almighty. Okay, and then the serpent around it, and that healed the people when they looked upon it, even though they were bitten by venomous, deadly snakes in the desert. Now, again, what the reason I think what I brought that up is I brought that up because, the serpent, even your dual existence, going like up and down, that pillar of power, that beam of power that comes in from the Almighty, that, there's a lot of, oh my goodness, I was going to say, obviously we're talking about the metaphysical, even the action, that's what I'm trying to say, the winding, the coiling of the serpent, the spiraling of the serpent. That's very metaphysical. We're talking about physics when we say, the winding, the spiraling, that energy that moves. But anyway, okay, enough about our dual existence. Let's get back to the sacred serpent and how it is alchemical, because what we do is we go from the sacred serpent, we work, when we're working our energy, when we're working our love alchemy, we're building up the strongest, most powerful serpent. What comes to mind when you think of the strongest, most powerful serpent? Who's the king serpent? The cobra, right? I know it can be debated like, oh, well, the black mamba, but what we're talking about is symbolism. The king cobra. Okay. The reason I say that is you want to go from your, in the beginning, because you've got all these programs, you are the key, you have it, you have the foundation, like not the foundation even, you can say the sketch, when people are doing like just getting ready to draw something, they've got a nice sketch of something. So you've got the scaffolding where they're about to build it of this king cobra. It's in the works, but because in this existence there is imbalance, and then we're bombarded with so many negative programs, we are having to build our king cobra back up. So we're just, we're working on the head in the beginning in life. Some of us are working faster than others. Some of us only have the head and maybe like a quarter of the cobra, king cobra created. All the while, we keep in mind the secret sacred, when I say the secrets of the sacred serpent, because so many people think, oh, snakes, and oh God, the evil, you're a snake. That's, we use a lot of that, like, you're such a snake. But really, the secret is that the snake is holy. The secret, the esoteric meaning of the snake is you, and you achieving your most powerful, most beautiful self with everything that may be against you and impossible. You move beautifully and you move quickly when you are your highest carnal material self, physical self, just like the snake. Powerful. The snake can do so much. You're like, wow, how did that snake do that? So you've got the sacred serpent, which is your existence in this realm, and you are working on yourself becoming that bird. That's the alchemy of it. That's what I mean by alchemy. You see it in a lot. Now I'm going to start talking about, like, this a lot of different writings. Like, you've got the phoenix rising up. That's a serpent. The phoenix is a bird. It's a bird, but it also can be compared to, like, not just Quetzalcoatl, but there's another, can't remember what it's called an anti. I gotta find it, y'all. I used to know what it was. Antifear? Can't remember. I forgot what it's called. It's a type of serpent anyway. Well, anyway, so I can't remember what it's called. I'll find out later. Well, maybe I'll look. Let me just take a quick look and see if I can find it on here. There's a lot of great references and information. Like, you can be like, oh wow, okay, this is a serpent. And I was looking at this and I was like, oh, so many references in every holy writing, especially the Bible. So anyway, I can't remember what it is, but you can look at the seraphim. They are fiery, serpent winged, or fiery winged serpents, right? Phoenix coming out of the fire. It's on fire. It's a winged creature. It's not really a bird, but it's very similar to Quetzalcoatl. Of course, it doesn't have that serpent body, but like dragons, very similar to that. So anyway, the seraphim are in the Bible, and they're considered the angels saying, holy, holy, holy. They guard in the Bible. They're in Isaiah. It said that they guard the throne of the Almighty. Okay, so they're the highest top angels, but they're serpents, right? People say they're not serpents. Well, scripture says that the seraph is a serpent, and it's those creatures. And then you look at the dragon. The dragon's fire breathing. The dragon is in the scriptures. There's writings about the dragon being evil and the dragon being good or majestic and powerful. And that's what I said about the sacredness of you as you in this material realm can have the ability to create yourself as something sacred, not just elevating yourself to only some ethereal body, some spirit floating like an orb of light, but to actually be physically, materially sacred. You have the ability to do that. The way you do it is working that love alchemy, and practicing the natural laws that were set by the Almighty Power for us to abide by. So I digress. So talking a little bit about this, the serpent in different beliefs. We have, of course, the Egyptian Kemetic beliefs. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't remember what that thing is called. It's the let me see, it's called the R.I.S E, I think. Is that what it's called? The R.I.S E. That's for every king, all royalty, the king would have, the pharaoh would have that R.I.S E, the symbol of the cobra, and that was the goddess Wujet. I think it's Wujet. I'm not, as I said, I'm just really trying to find out the Kemetic names. I know these are not like Kemetic names, but Wajet, that's it, Wajet. So Wajet, I don't know the Kemetic name, but Wajet was the cobra goddess of I think, Lower Egypt. Wajet, and she was depicted on the crowns of the pharaoh on the forehead, the snake. And then the goddess, the bird goddess, the vulture goddess, who was just equivalent to her, but guarded the northern kingdom. That goddess also was added to the, I think it's Nekbet. I can't remember their names. So, but for sure there was Nekbet is the bird goddess. She's the upper kingdom. Even right there, you see, elevated. And then Wajet, lower, snake, sacred. Then we've got in a lot of ancient other ancient beliefs, like the Asians, they believe in the Nagas, and the Nagas are serpent-like people who were superior. They had superior powers, and they lived in the underworld with beautiful gems and gold and all kinds of beautiful, priceless elements. Just like we talked about with the alchemy. You want to be your sacred serpent self. You don't want to be half of a serpent or just the head of a serpent. You want to be your full sacred serpent self in the aspect of you being a material person, being. You want to be able to, that's what wisdom is. Wisdom in the scripture is referred to as a serpent. Wisdom is a serpent in the scriptures. Now, knowing that, wisdom is obviously considered female, and wisdom being female, okay, if wisdom is female, we're talking about the material. The material, this realm is a feminine realm. M-A-T-E-R means mother, mater. But material, M-A-T-T-E-R, is not much different. So we have the material, we have the serpent, which is considered Sophia. Sophia is a serpent. And Sophia is wisdom, feminine, the serpent that works for you in this realm. That's what I'm getting at. I've said this before. We don't need wisdom once we leave this, once we transition. We don't need wisdom because we are not in the flesh anymore. Wisdom is only used for the flesh. Wisdom is only used for our flesh. That's our serpent. That's our serpent existence. And what we're doing while we exist in this realm, while we're living on this earth, so to speak, while we're living, we want to be able, before we transition, we want to use our full serpent self. We want to use the wisdom to be our best selves because we're working toward the alchemical process of becoming, reinventing ourselves. And that's one way, that's one of the aspects of the symbolism of the serpent, the reinvention of self, resurrection, reincarnation, the renewing of self, eternal existence. Okay, so the serpent, again, the alchemy of it is that you are reinventing yourself. You're becoming, you're going uh, from your incomplete serpent, creating your full serpent in yourself. That's the symbolism of you're creating your best material self, and then the alchemy goes on to, now you're not a serpent, you're moving up to a flying creature, so to speak. You're moving up to a bird creature, a bird-like creature. And isn't that, like, if you look at it, you've got the dragon. It's a serpent that flies. Quetzalcoatl, a serpent that flies. So in those religions, or in those schools of thought, it shows you that, oh, look, this serpent now became a flying thing. And even in science, when you hear about, like, all these archaeologists saying, well, the dinosaurs, they say they're reptiles, are really, related to the birds. Birds are, those are their ancestors. They say this all the time, that birds and dinosaurs are related. I don't know how true that is, but definitely it's 100%. There's a connection right there. So the alchemy is that you go from your serpent existence, and you have to realize, you have to know the sacred serpent, not the serpent that's pushed in Judeo-Christian religion. Evil serpent. The serpent beguiled Eve, and ye are of your fathers, the serpent. Those are, yes, definitely negative references to a serpent, because you are still talking about the material physical person, and the material physical person being flesh. When we're just talking about flesh is not infallible, and flesh is definitely is susceptible to temptation, and that's why you have to strengthen it. That's why you have to do fasting. That's why you have to do stay healthy, get into the sun, stay in the light, stay meditating, stay praying, stay connected to the almighty power all the time. So the alchemy is about the sacred serpent, is that you realize that you are, the serpent symbolizes your existence, and you're becoming your best. You are becoming the king cobra. You're going from, just the head, or just one scale, you know, you're going from one scale to a full, beautiful king cobra. And once you've completed that, you go from the king cobra to the dragon, and from the dragon you become the bird. And it's in so much, like, even Inanna and Ishtar, they're represented as, you know, well, Inanna is represented as a lion, but Ishtar is represented as an owl. she's represented as an owl, that goddess. I talked about the goddess with the uraeus that the kings wear, that snake on the pharaoh's head in Kemet. I talked about that goddess. I forgot her name again. Wajet, the goddess Wajet. Yeah, that's her name, Wajet. I got to work on that. Okay, so we talked about that. Now and I touched on the Nagas, right? But if you also look, we're talking about the ancient Sanskrit and Buddhism. They all look at the serpent people as superior divine. That's because, and they have supernatural powers. That's because that is us. We can achieve not our Nagas level of physical self. Okay. Now, knowing that, okay, the Nagas, there's also in Eritrean and Ethiopian, which they're the same people. They just separated because of, whatever power struggles. But the Ethiopian people, what do they call their kings? Nagas. There you go. Royalty. Nagas. The serpent people. Ethiopians. Nagas. Anyway, so yeah, what else? Let's see. What else? There's so much to cover, but yeah. The Kundalini, of course, I'm not really too keen, too feeling too hot about how sadly the New Age movement has taken something that is true. It's a perfect example, actually, of where you don't use the sacred serpent, you turn it into a base. The lead people, remember I said lead? You're not following the natural laws, even though, yes, there is that, in that sacral energy, that lower part, when we've got the flow of the pillar, the lower part, we're talking about the loin region, the lower region below your navel to the pubic area. Let's say, okay, so that energy vibrating there, they use that teaching about the Kundalini spirit and activating it through gyrations, serpentine movements, and activating it, and doing a lot of sex to activate it. That's against the natural order. That's not really alchemical. What you're doing is you're moving you're going from something working, the idea is all right, but then you start moving into like a lower vibrational thing. Because again, when you want to reach that ecstatic sexual energy, it has to be with a partner that you love, trust, and that you cherish, not just somebody you hook up with to get that vibe, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's about it. This one's not that long. Yeah, so the sacred serpent, definitely all through the scriptures. Remember the seraphim, they are those angels that were flying, praising the Almighty, but they're also, that word seraph also means serpent. It's great. So the alchemy of it is you create your best self in this material realm. I was going a little, I hope that you got what I was talking about, because I was like kind of going very complex, like winding through. Oh, another thing, the serpent, for like the water is, it moves in a very similar way. when you think of rivers and streams, and even when you have water, running down from somewhere, it doesn't run straight. It always winds. It always is winding. So water can be symbolic of that serpent energy, that sacred serpent. And the reason I say water is because water is pure in the sense that um, it is essentially in us. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's a part of our makeup. It's a part of every living being. Water. That's the purity. But then the complexity of water. I think I'll do that in part 3. The alchemy of water. Oh yes. So water is essentially pure. But remember, pure doesn't always mean clean. Water's pure, and water has the ability to clean and sterilize. Anyway, y'all, I hope you like this. I hope you get something from it. Oh, I did want to touch on something else too. I wanted to talk about the serpent people again. Let's stick with that, and let's really, I'll try to work this into the alchemy series. But like I said, I might do water because it just came to me. That would be great to do water and alchemy. But the Nagas, let's really focus on that, because also in China they called our people, the dark people, melaninated with curly hair, people from Africa, they called us the Kunlun. And the Kunlun also, they try to say there's no connection. When I say they, I mean historians. But the Kunlun were worshipped, and there is the White Snake Mountain in Asia, the White Snake Mountain, where the Kunlun are. There's several Kunlun temples. So I don't know. It's really interesting. So the serpent. I didn't even touch on DNA. The sacred, the sacred, the way our physical bodies, our DNA, what does it do? Spiral. It's like a serpent. And the DNA is a part of the alchemical process, because it is in essence always us, but it's always moving, always creating a new life, always renewing, eternal, everlasting. So, anything else? Look into the Nagas, Nagas, and the Negus. There has to be a connection. Yeah, it's really interesting. So the serpent is sacred. The alchemy of it is that you working on yourself, doing your love alchemy, you are changing yourself. You're becoming your best self in this realm. I'm doing this because I picture like a snake here. So you're becoming your best self in the material realm, the serpent. And then the alchemy is you still are rising up to other levels. You're going from serpent, then you've got this dragon. I'm just giving examples. And then from the dragon, you're this glorious thunderbird, this bird, which is also another mythological representation of your highest self. So, yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Much love, much respect. If you didn't get everything I was saying, go listen to it more than once. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And please, by the way, I love all the comments. Awesome. Even if you're not vibing with what I'm saying, look, leave a comment. Don't get all crazy and be like, you're so dumb. I mean, we're not in 3rd grade. You just say, I don't really believe this. And by the way, even if you're a Hebrew Israelite, or a Christian, I would love to hear from you, because I really, 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 really want to get the dialogue going, even some very intellectual debating going on the sacredness of the serpent, the sacredness of the serpent, and the essence of the wisdom that comes along with the serpent, and even deeper, the femininity of the wisdom that comes along with the wisdom and the serpent. Okay. All praise to the almighty power, the natural, the creator of everything natural as far as laws go with us, writing his laws, or if you don't say his, writing the power's laws in our spirit, in ourselves, in our hearts. I call the Almighty Yahweh at times, and all praise to the Almighty, and much love and respect, and just adoration and praise goes to Yahushai, who, as a human, taught us all this in a very. I'm in my crudest form, in the crudest form compared to the eloquence how he taught, and there's so much esoteric information, the esotericism, I think that's how you say it, esotericism of the scriptures is phenomenal and exciting. It's not just about do this or die. You're breaking the rules. It's not about that. It's about a golden existence, a shining, brilliant self. I mean, if you don't want to say gold, you can talk about diamonds, which also, that's another alchemy, taking a piece of coal, turning it into a clear crystal stone. Amazing. So I just going on and on and on. But like I said, please like, subscribe, share. And if you feel like donating, you can donate. I'll put my Cash App in there. Whatever you donate is just a great action, and it's awesome, and it's appreciated. By the way, right there, we talked about the alchemy of love. That's a step toward the alchemy of love. Even though I consider myself one of the darkest minds of the light, I'm still working on myself to be my highest self. So when you do something kind for me, even leaving a comment, it's not just about donations. When you leave a kind comment, or when you connect, we have this type of reciprocal dance of pure, energetic, alchemical love, and we are strengthening each other's encapsulation. Those bubbles that I talked about, that magnetic force. We are actually feeding each other. It's like a flow of energy, but it doesn't go like that. Remember, it's always going like this. It's always like, like it's always spiraling. It's never just like that. Would be the power that we work and send out. But that's a whole different topic too. Like when I say rays, the ray. We should get into that too. We should talk about like the sacred geometry. So much good stuff to talk about, y'all. So I'm at 54 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and end it. I was going to try to do a whole hour, but it's okay. It's okay. So look forward to part 3. I hope you loved this. I hope it did something, sent you on your path to finding out more about the serpent, the sacredness of the serpent, and how it relates to yourself in this realm. So Shalom, Hotep, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, much love, peace and black power, peace and black love, and until next time, peace.